Wonder Woman issue number 6. That's right, folks. This is the finale to the Outlaw story arc. I guess if issue 7, 8, and onwards we're doing a different arc. I don't know what that means, because this arc, or this book even, it just kind of ends on a cliffhanger where we're definitely setting up what's coming next. I feel like it's going to be a more intimate story next, where maybe it's Wonder Woman. We'll get to it, actually. It's kind of interesting. I love this run. This book is so interesting. This issue in particular is very interesting. It explores a lot of themes that I think Tom King definitely wants to play with when talking about this character. It's very interesting if you think about like his prolific work that he's done for the Trinity, where he has a very specific thing in mind. When it came to Batman, that thing was kind of controversial. When he did Superman Up in the Sky, that felt like Superman is important because he's Superman and he could do anything. And that's kind of how he feels about Wonder Woman, I'm finding, which that works for me. I think the way he's handling Wonder Woman here is on the same level as he's handling Superman, and better than he has handled Batman. And now I got nothing against his Batman run. I think it's fine. But it's just nice to see this type of story take place. So this book is primarily narration from the King of America, the Sovereign, whatever you want to call them, talking to Trinity. If we weren't confirmed earlier that they were talking to Trinity, we are confirmed now that they're talking to Trinity. And it's talking about like the infamous battle, the day that Wonder Woman's fight against the King of America and the Sovereign turned to myth. And that's kind of interesting. I like that a lot. So in the last issue, we saw that Sergeant Steele was recruiting a lot of Wonder Woman villains. This issue, they are enacting their plan. We open up and we are in Washington, D.C. We're close to the Washington Monument. Is that monument? I think it's the Washington Monument. I am from Canada. I don't know all the landmarks that are in Washington, D.C. Pretty sure that big, tall one's the Washington Monument. And she's sitting in front of it with Steve Trevor. Steve Trevor has a headache and he's just kind of like out of it a bit, and we see that he's actually fighting an attack from Dr. Psycho and the Angle Man. So he's trying to like fight this thing like, no, Diana, they're coming. They're coming. And that is when a giant hand reaches out from the ground, and Giganta was buried there. And they just like, okay, I guess we're going to do that, because it was all Cersei. So Cersei's sitting on a bench somewhere in the distance, and she's like, well, there's sacred ground here that we can use to bury here. It's going to be easier. That could all be bullshit, as the King of America tells us in like the narration. Like, we just learned not to argue with the witch. She'll do her own thing. She's only working with us because she wants to get at Wonder Woman. So we'll let that happen. So when Giganta appears from the ground, how does Diana respond? Well, she goes into full Wonder Woman and unleashes a fight. So Giganta pounds the ground to knock her out, and Wonder Woman evades the fight. She jumps up, and we get like a nice piece of dialogue explaining, like, I think this is really cool. It's like a really interesting way to explain how Diana handles a fight, because she is a warrior and she is an Amazon, but she wants to prioritize like saving people, and like she does not seek out violence. She's against it. So she'll always find like the strongest tactic first as the way to actually defeat a foe. So with that, it is just wrapping the lasso around Giganta and trying to pin her to the ground. As she tries to do that, we see Silver Swan shows up, swoops in and grabs her before Diana can pin her, crashes her into the side of the monument, and Silver Swan is kind of like a red herring to throw her off, just like, no, it's okay, you have to run, you have to get away from me, they're going to hurt you, they're going to attack you, you got to get out of here, you're so good, please go, you have to go. She's like, no, you don't understand what's going to happen. Diana punches her out, and she's about to like fall to the ground, and that is when Giganta hits her and like practically breaks the Washington Monument. We'll get more to that in a minute here, but it all feels very like a tactical thing to happen. These people are ordained by the US government, and they're in a fight with Wonder Woman, who is very anti-America at the moment, and now we are destroying a landmark of the people, something that literally represents the government. Wonder Woman had a fight, and it's being destroyed, which is kind of interesting. So Wonder Woman and Silver Swan crash to the ground, and the narration tells us, like, yeah, we were aware that Silver Swan wasn't going to come out of this. She's just going to die here. And that is when Giganta grabs the Washington Monument, and she uses it as like a huge stake to like stab Diana with, and just breaks the entire thing on top of her. And then the narration goes, all right, we had Sergeant Steele. He's checking from the White House. He's like our last guy in the field. All that power knocked Cersei out, so she's sleeping on a bench. Dr. Psycho and Angleman, they collapsed. Too much of their power together. Giganta's pretty much out, like the last of her power was in that situation. And we were already like celebrating and toasting to our fallen comrade in Silver Swan. So we were pretty much just like, we did it, we beat her, everything's good. And that is when the king gets a call from Sergeant Steele like, Sovereign, fight ain't over. And that is when we see Wonder Woman holding up the Washington Monument from dropping on her, and Silver Swan, an American flag is flying next to her. And this is just Tom King being like, because she's Wonder Woman, she's never going to yield. She's not going to give up. It's just like how he talked about Superman, and I love that so much. So she picks up the Washington Monument, and she throws it at Giganta, and it drops Giganta to the ground. She defeats the giant. She defeated the witch, she defeated the doctor, she defeated the giant. There's none really left except for somebody we'll get to in a minute. So it looks like Sergeant Steele's like, well, this is just getting worse every single time it happens. So what's your plan here, Sovereign? What's next for us to do? Do we want to retreat, do a Montana all over again, or should we send in like the next lesson? So Plan G is initiated. Plan G for Grail, because who's next? After we essentially like dropped an entire monument on top of Diana, let's send in the daughter of Darkseid. So Grail shows up. And then it's just, we're going to watch two pretty ladies punch each other for a minute. You know? That's what we're going to do. And I'm like, yeah, okay, let's see what you got. And the narration's like, this literally became a fight that people turned into legend. Like, they were kind of alone because we had, like, Cersei, like, take everybody out, like, the Mall of America and all that stuff, so they were kind of alone in the field. But it's just, you have two gods punching each other, just trying to destroy each other, and it's just them screaming and attacking. It's so interesting, and it's just, like, a really cool thing to see. Like, it's so impressive. I love the artwork of this. Imperi's doing so much heavy lifting here. Not to say the script isn't immaculate, because it is. It's just so interesting. And then it's just kind of like, who's stronger? Wonder Woman when she's literally at her end, when she's on the brink of collapse, or Grail when she is just like fully fresh and eager to attack. We see during the montage of them fighting, somebody grabs a hold of Sergeant Steele like they are kidnapping him. We see like a silver bracelet and some black hair. So my first thought was, oh, is this Donna Troy doing something to help out? That's where I'm currently leaning to, that's Donna Troy. And then Wonder Woman looks like she's about to be destroyed here. They're throwing cars at each other. They're being destroyed. There's blood everywhere. The Omega Beam eyes are coming out. Nothing is going good. The Daughter of Paradise and the Daughter of Apocalypse, who's going to win? It's hard to say. It looks like Wonder Woman is defeated. She's on the ground. Grail grabs her weapon to slice at Diana's neck. And that is when the bracer shows up. Wonder Woman stops it with her gauntlet and says, I have one thing you don't have, and that is hope. She's like, just accept you're defeated, Diana, and just die. She's like, no, thank you. And she punches Grail straight in the face. And that is enough to end the battle. That is so freaking cool. It's such a Tom King thing, like the last like little bit of narration from here. It's just like she wasn't any ordinary hero. The second oldest story told is of gods clashing, deciding the fate of worlds with their muscles and metal. And the oldest, never written in stone or ink, but passed down generation to generation through the whispers of mothers to their daughters. It is the tale of a woman pushed to the ground, how she rose again. And you're like, damn, that is such a Tom King thing. Just to be like, no matter the odds, Wonder Woman will remain victorious and on top. So we see Diana, she has defeated Grail. It starts to rain. She collapses to her knees, and then she collapses on top of Grail. And the narration explains to us, like, we thought we got her, but she played us like a fiddle, man. This was a deception. She deceived us. What a fool we were. And that is how that part of the book ends. Beautiful. We do get another backup. where it's still the Trinity story. So we see that Damien and John are trying to put little Trinity to sleep. She doesn't want to go to sleep, so Damien tells her like a retelling of Final Crisis where it's like, Robin, did everything. Was Damien around before Final Crisis? I don't even remember. It doesn't work. She can't go to sleep, so they try to figure out another plan. What if we take her to the moon? That'll tire her out. So she wants to go to the moon. There's like, this is not working. This is really bad. It's not going to work. She can't sleep because she's scared that there's Math and Darkseid hiding in her closet. So Damien checks, and that is when she says that, I love you, brother. And he's like, what? I love you too. He's like, she won't sleep. No one will sleep in this house. Him and John collapse on the sofa, and then like the daylight shows up. That is when we see little Trinity just climb onto the couch, get on her iPad, and she's about to fall asleep next to her brothers. Really cute. You could tell King's having so much fun writing like the world's finest stuff back there. It's so cool. But my God, is this story just incredible. It is so interesting. The things we are doing here are so interesting and creative. And it's just like you think Diana's being played this entire issue where she fell for the trap, but she didn't. She was aware of what's going on. And we got Sergeant Steele. Somebody kidnapped him. It's probably Donna or somebody. And it's really cool. Great fighting. Sampiri's artwork is just so impressive. It's so impressive, and just like really cool narration of like Wonder Woman. She's about hope. She's about love. She does not want to use violence. She's a warrior who does not want violence, but because she is a warrior, she is still capable of fighting, and she'll always come out on top and always be victorious. That is such a cool thing to explore. I love this book. It's so incredibly handled. It's very interesting. I love seeing Giganta, too. It's one of my favorite Wonder Woman villains, so just having her show up in any capacity is really exciting. I'm here. I'm here for it. We're doing some cool stuff. So, Wonder Woman issue number 6, I am going to give a 9 out of 10. Now, thank you all for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And of course, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.